students, welcome to the Open Classroom. My name is Mr. Forrester and I'm here to do a lesson with you all today. So today we have a nice mathematics lesson and our topic is going to be on addition. So for the most part we would be doing addition straight from first year coming up, and with each level that you do it would increase in difficulty slightly. So what we are going to be doing today for the majority is 4-digit addition. Right? And our main objectives are, we are going to demonstrate an understanding of the algorithm for addition. We are going to solve some worded addition problems. And we are going to use some problem-solving strategies that can help you when you are doing this in your work in preparation for your classes. Good. And one-step addition problem. So no regrouping today, no problems. We'll do that in another class. Good. So now that we are beginning, we're going to talk about place value. So place value ties into addition a lot, and it has a nice little relationship. So in order to help with the addition, you have to understand place value, what it is, and how it can be used. So place value tells us the position of the digit in the number, and we use it to determine the value of that digit. So we have a number here. We have 4,235. As you can see, in that number, there are 4 different digits. Good? When we're talking about place value, if we're using the 3 for an example, that 3 there is 3 tens. So it's 3 tens, that's the place value. We know that it comes right after the ones because we start on the one side. And it carries a value of 30. So 3 tens or 30. If that 3 instead was a 4, then it would be 4 tens or 40. The place value tells you the position and it helps you with determining the value of the digit in that position. Good. So we're taking a number here. Same number we had, 4,235. And we're going to break it down into the different place values based on their positions and the values that they will carry. We will talk about those afterwards. Good. So the 5 there is represented by an O, and it's in the ones position. Good. So the ones, 5 ones. The 3 there will be in what position again, if you all remember? Represented by a T and in the tens position. Good. The 2 represented by a H, and it's in the hundreds position. And for our last digit in this particular number, represented by a TH, and it's in the thousands position. So now that we've broken down the number, we're going to talk about the value. So the 5, which will be the first number dealing with, is in the ones place. So it's 5 ones, and that 5 ones will be 5. Simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 3 in the tens place carries the value of 3 tens, and we spoke about it before. That would be 30. So we have 2 more to work out now. The 2 in the hundreds place carries, what value do you think that it carries? Good. 2 hundreds. Good. And lastly, we have the 4, which is in the thousands place, and it carries the value of, good, 4,000. So now we understand the different values that the place value give to the numbers. Different positions, different place value. And as it moves forward, different places have different values to go with them as well. So if it's in the ones place, you can count it on your fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. If it's in the tens place, you multiply it by 10, you get the value. If it's in the hundreds place, you're multiplying it by 100, get the value of it. Thousands place, and so on. Very good. So in any addition number sentence, because that's what our main focus is today, you have the different parts of it. Good? So we have 2 numbers here that we will be adding, that are to be added. 1,232 add 4,212. Good? So in this particular number sentence, let's break apart the different parts of it here now. So we have our first part, which is the first number that we have, which is called an addend. So we have one addend here, and we have one on the other side. So these are the numbers that you are adding together. So even if your numbers are 5 add 4, those are still your addends. Good? So you have 2 of them in your number sentences, because when you're adding, you're putting more than one thing together and making it larger. Additionally to that now, in the center of our number sentence, you have the addition sign. It's a cross, it's a plus. You should have known it coming forward, so it shouldn't be an issue. And the answer, when you add these two quantities or these two sets of items or whatever it is together, is called the sum. Good? So you have an addend in front, the addition sign, the second addend to be added, and the sum. And it's bordered there by the equal sign. Good. And here we have what our answer would look like and how our entire sum, how our entire addition number sentence would look when it's completed. So we have 1,232 add 4,212 is equal to 5,444. Very good. So here we have an addition number sentence that has been written horizontally. And what I mean by horizontally, it's across. It's like the horizon. You see how the horizon line goes across? That's what I mean by horizontally. The first step in addition is to write it vertically. So that's top down. So we have two numbers. We have 1,426 add 3,252. Right? So this is our current number sentence. Those are our two addends. That's what we're going to be adding in. First thing we have to remember is our place value. So we have our ones, tens, hundreds, and thousands, because these numbers have 4 digits each. Good? So remember, ones under ones, tens under tens, hundreds under hundreds, and so on. Good? I'm sure you would have heard your teacher say that more than once. So the first addend that we are putting in is the first one that we have here in our number sentence. So we have 1,426. 1,426 goes under the place values. So the 6, which is 6 ones, is under the ones. Good? So the 1, which is 1,000s, is in the thousands position. So that's what we're going with. Good? The second thing we're writing in is the second addend. So 3,252, 3,252. As you can see, everything is where it's under its place value. The 2 is under the 5, which are both 10, is over the 5, sorry, and so it's going. So you have to make sure you write it that way so you don't get confused. A good thing to get into the habit of doing is double checking to make sure that the number you have in our number sentence is the same ones that you wrote down when you're writing it vertically. Because I have seen it happen where you write the wrong thing from there, it goes here, and even though your addition is good, the sum that you were given is not the sum that you did. Good? So we have our equal sign, which is where our answers are going to be. And we have the addition operation sign. So we put that there to remind us that we are adding. We know that there are different operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and so on. In this case, we are adding. Remember to put your operation sign. Good. So now we're going to break down what the addition itself is. So I believe I mentioned it somewhere before, but we have a nice little definition here. When we are adding, we are joining quantities together to increase the amount. In this case that we are dealing with here, we are adding two quantities together to make a larger quantity. So each number that we are using represents a quantity, right? And we are putting those together to make one that is larger than the two. So we're going to actually try an addition now. And don't worry, we're going to break it down step by step. What I want you to do is have a pencil and a paper ready, and we're going to do this together as we move forward. Good? Very good. So this is our number sentence written horizontally. So we have 3,426, and it's going to be added on to 2,313. So those are our two addends. And what's the first thing that we have to do now? Write the numbers vertically. Good. Excellent. So that's the first thing that we're going to be doing in this step in addition. We have our place value, ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. Very good. And we put in our first addend. So we have 3,426, and our number is written the same here. Good. What's the second thing that we have to do after we have all these things written? Good. The second addend has to be going. 2,313, same numbers, they match. Next step will be, well, we have our addition sign, good, so we know what operation we are going to be doing. And we have our equal line. Now you will see that there's one equal line here rather than the two from before. That's because you tend to want to border it off after you're done. So we have one here, we'll be adding, when we're finished, we'll close it off with another equal line. So, which side, in addition, do we start with? Good. We start with the side furthest to your right. So that's the place value 1. So when you're adding, you start at 1 and you move forward. Right, good. So now that we have the addition written down, what we're going to be doing is adding it together digit by digit. So you don't just do the whole thing and go back to it, you're adding it one by one. So what you will see here are a few examples of some counters that we're going to be using. These are a part of the base 10 blocks. Good? So just by looking at the blocks, you have 6 on top, you have 3 below. And does that match up to the digits that we would have had before? It should. So again, starting with the ones digit, we have our 6 blocks here, which represent our 6 ones. We have our 3, which is represented by the 3 ones there. And then we have all the other digits. So we made sure I gave us a lot of space to work with so that we can see everything we are doing and we can take our time and not make any mistakes. So we have 6 ones or 6, 3 ones or 3. And when those are added together, they will be 9. So you can use your head, you could use your counters, you could do whatever you have to do to get this. This will be the first one that I'm doing with you, and this one I made it a little bit easier. So you have everything there. Now, which position will we move on to? We'll move on to the hundreds, we're moving on to the thousands? No. Good. So now that we've finished with our ones, we are moving on to the number directly to the left, which carries the place value of 10. Good. So what we have here, we have our blocks. We have 2 10s to be added on to one 10. Good? Under the tens column, it's to be added together. So we're adding 2 10s and 1 10s, and that will give us 3 10s. Very good. So now that we are finished with our ones and we are finished with our 10s, we are moving on again. Are we going to skip ahead to our thousands? No. We have to go in order in our sequence. And the next one we have to deal with is hundreds. So here we have 4 hundreds to be added on to 300. And when you add those together, 400s and 300s will give you, good, 700. So everything, place value under place value, and so far we're keeping it nice and neat. The last one that we have to do, we're not going back, we're not done. We have one last one to do, and that will be our thousands. Good. So we have 3 thousands to be added on to 2 thousands, and that will give us 5 thousands. So now, unless I'm missing something, we have completed one addition. Right? This is our first one that we have done together, and we have managed to finish it. And this will be the same steps. So you write your number vertically. It would have been horizontal. You wrote everything down. You started at the ones. You drew your counters. You use your fingers, or you use your head, or whatever you did. Always make sure to check over your work and check over that your answer is correct. And as I promised before, we are drawing that last equal line and closing off this one. What you would have to do now is to write the number back when it was horizontal. Good. So we have 3,426, our first added, add 2,313 equals, and the answer we would have just gotten 5,739. And I just have our base 10 blocks and everything there just to give you a reminder of the values that these numbers carry. So good. So the next step, you have to write it back horizontally. So we found our answer, and you're putting it back into our number sentence. So we have 3,426, which we added on to 2,313, and our answer, our sum, if you remember correctly, is 5,739. And we have our blocks here that shows the place value, of all the different numbers in their respective place values. Very good. So I hope you have your pencil and your paper out from before, because we're going to be doing another one. So this is the one that you all are going to be doing at home with me along. So I helped you a lot more with the first one. This one, you have to try to remember the different steps and the different things that we have to do. So our first number, 8,467, add 1,432. So those are our two addends, two to be added together. What is the first thing that we will have to do for this particular sum? Write the number vertically. Very good. So we have our thousands, our hundreds, our tens, our ones, each number under its place value, everything where it should be. Very good. So you feel free, draw your counters, draw whatever you have to do, use it in your head. However you want to work it out is up to you. So which side are we starting on? Are we starting from our thousands? No. Starting from our tens? No. Are we starting from our ones? Very good. So we have, in our ones position, we have 7, add 2. And 7 and 2 is equal to, very good, 9. So now we're moving on. We're finished with our ones and we're moving on to our tens. 6, add 3. Work it out. If you have it already worked out, put it on your paper so you could go back and you could show them that you got it for yourself afterwards. So now that we've finished with the ones, we're moving on to which one? Are we moving on to our hundreds? Are we moving on to our thousands? No. We are moving on to our tens. So we have 6, add 3. And that's equal to 9. Very good. So hopefully while you all are home and you're working it out on your paper and you're going well along with us. Which position are we moving? Which place value are we moving on to now? Are we moving on to thousands, or are we sticking to the side that we are going and going with hundreds? Very good. So we are on to our hundreds. We have 2 4s here. So you could do it as multiplication if you're doing it in your head that way, or you could add it up however you want to do it once you have your answer correct. So we have 4 add 4, and that will give you 8. Very good. So we're going really good so far. Last one. We are on our thousands. We have 8. We have 1. And 8 and 1 will give us 9. And now we have, it seems like we have our entire answer because we worked everything out. So what is our answer here now? 9,899. Excellent work. So the last thing we'd have to do, put it back where it came from. So we have our two addends written horizontally. Now we are putting in our sum. And our sum, hopefully the same one that you all have at home, 9,899. So excellent work. Give yourself a nice round of applause. All right. Great, great, great job. Right? So now we're going to work on some worded problems. So you will know that when you are doing addition or subtraction, it's not always just written as numbers. They don't always just give it to you. Sometimes what they will do is give it to you in a short couple sentences, and you will have to pick out the numbers, decide that you're going to add, and then follow all the steps that we would have done before. So what I am going to give you here is a list of words that when you see these words, they're telling you to add. A lot of the time they add a little hint, that little nudge that tells you more than likely right now what you have is a problem dealing with addition. So the first word we have is one that's more or less obvious to most, add. If you have two addends somewhere inside this little number sentence and they specifically come out and tell you to add them together, then you have to add. Good? We have sum. So we would have spoken before that when you put two adds together, the result is the sum. So if in the number sentence you say, what is the sum of whatever number add whatever number, then again, they're suggesting that what you have to do is put those numbers together and find that sum. Plus, I think, if I'm not very much mistaken, I would have mentioned when I was talking about the addition operation sign that it's a plus sign, it's a cross. That's another hint that you more than likely will have to add there, that word plus. Total. So if I'm asking you for the total amount of something, chances are, once again, you will have to add. Good? All together. This is a nice one here. So if you have 3 groups of friends and each one of them have a different quantity of something, be it marbles, and I asked you, how much do you and your 2 friends have all together? What you would have to do is take your marbles, add them up together, and see your total. So see a sum. Very good. Increase. So increase is another nice one. So you have 54 cars. I don't know what you're dealing with that amount for. Increase the amount of cars that you have by 25. What you will have to do there is take that 54 that you had before and put it together with the 25 that you now have, and you get a new amount. Very good. So as I said, if you see these words in your number sentence, more than likely you will have to add. Good? Very good. So keep those words in mind. If you want to write them down, that's fine. Right? They will come up in your work, be it here in the open classroom or when you go back out to school. So keep them with you. Keep them in your mind, learn them. Right. So what I'm going to give you here is I'm going to give you a worded problem. And we're going to see what I was talking about with those different words here now. Good. So read along with me. At the start of a football match, there were 4,200 fans present in the stadium. As the match progressed, 3,246 more fans came in. What was the total number of fans present at the match? Good. So what word here, if it is present, is telling you the operation that you have to deal with? Anyone of my eagle-eyed students will see a word that was on our list from before. And that word is total. So they're asking you for the total number of fans that there are in the match. So we have the 4,200, we got 3,246 more. What is the total? What is the major amount that we have there now? So that is how your worded problems will come. You have to pick out the addends, you have to pick out the operation based on the words present in it. Very good for you if you got that. Good. So we have one addend here from the same worded problem. 4,000s. Good. 200s. And we have no tens, the ones is represented by the 0. We have our 3,000s, 200s, we have our 4 tens, and we have our 6 ones. This will be the number sentence when you have finished breaking down. So you have found the word, in this case it was the word total. You see the addend, so you have the amount of fans that you started with, the amount of fans that came in afterwards, and you are putting these together. That will be the number sentence, how it will look when you write it horizontally. Now we know that when it's time for us to add, we don't add it like that, but you should write it down like that so you have an idea of what you're working towards. So tens, ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. You're writing it vertically again. Same 4,200 from before. Same 3,246 from before, and it's to be added together. So we're going to do this one. Again, I hope that you have your pencil and your paper out because you really need to practice working these things out. So starting from our ones. Good. We have 0. 0 does not carry any intrinsic value, so it's there. It's a representative, and it doesn't add anything to it. So you have nothing, and you're adding 6 on to that nothing. So you will have Shucks. So now what we have is we have our problem written vertically. So we have our 4,200, we have our counters for it, we have our 3,246. So as you can see, the zeros don't have any counters by them, and that's because 0 is a non-value, right? It's the absence of something. So even though the zeros are there and they have their place value and whatnot, we have 0 ones, which is still 0. So you have nothing on top, and we're going to add 6 onto it. So 0 add 6 is 6. Good. Good rule to keep in your mind: anything added onto 0 remains the same, right? Any number that you put onto 0, the number doesn't change. Or if you add 0 onto anything, it remains the same as well. And that comes in handy for the second number, because we have 0 add 4. You will simply bring down the 4, and it will give you 4 tens there too. Good. So now on to the hundreds. 2 and 2, 4. Excellent. And finally, we have 4 add 3, which will give you, good. So now, just as before, we have worked out another addition problem, but we have taken it from our worded problem, and we have made it a number sentence. We have written it vertically. We have started from our ones, and we have worked all the way up to our thousands, and we have completed it with 7,446 being our answer. Excellent work. Couldn't ask for better. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to go over a few of the things that we spoke about, a few of the important points, and hopefully at home you all can either get some worksheets if your teacher gives you, you can practice, you can write your own numbers and try it out for yourself, but get some practice done, because the addition happens right through. It's very important to know how to add. So good. When we are adding, we are joining quantities together, and the final quantity will be larger than its parts. Good? So you have two numbers, or two quantities, or two groups of things, and you're putting them together. The new group that is formed will be larger than the other one. That's all of that saying. Adding is putting quantities together. So that's what that's about there. Right? So when we are adding, we are using our place value. We start from the ones. Good? So the ones is the one furthest to the right. Right? So I'm facing you, so my right would be there. So if I'm writing, my ones would be there. Good? And worded problems tend to give you hints as to what operation you are using based on the words that are in. So words like add and plus and total and altogether, and the ones that we went through before, give you those hints as to whether or not you have to add or whatever you have to do. So I'm glad that you all joined me. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you again. And for more, you can have your parents visit learn.moe.gov.tt for your ECCE primary and secondary school needs. Goodbye.